Some stories are so dark, they leave more questions than answers. On June 14, 2007, a quiet Illinois road became the site of one of the most disturbing family murders in recent American history. Kimberly Vaughn and her 3 children, Abigail, Cassandra, and Blake, were found shot to death in the family SUV. The only survivor? Kimberly's husband, Christopher Vaughn. But was he a lucky survivor or a cold-blooded killer? That morning, a passing driver spotted Christopher Vaughn limping along a remote frontage road near Channahon, Illinois. He had been shot in the wrist and leg. When asked what happened, he replied chillingly, "I think my wife shot me." Inside the SUV, police discovered a devastating scene. Kimberly was slumped in the front passenger seat, shot under the chin. In the back, their 3 children had each been shot twice, execution style. A 9mm handgun lay near Kimberly's feet. Christopher's wounds were non-lethal, just enough to raise eyebrows. He claimed Kimberly suddenly snapped. According to him, she shot him without warning, then murdered their children before turning the gun on herself. But investigators weren't buying it. As detectives dug into the scene, things didn't add up. Kimberly's fatal gunshot was beneath her chin, but the angle didn't match typical suicide wounds. No gunpowder residue was found on her hands, a crucial detail that cast doubt on the murder-suicide theory. More strikingly, Christopher's DNA was on the gun. Kimberly's wasn't. Blood spatter patterns inside the SUV contradicted his version of events. Experts also noted that his gunshot wounds appeared deliberately staged, carefully placed to look serious, but not fatal. What could drive a man to kill his own family? Prosecutors said Christopher Vaughn had been preparing to abandon his life. He'd withdrawn large sums of cash, read survivalist manuals, and even traveled solo to the Ozarks, reportedly scouting locations to live off-grid. Friends described him as distant and discontent with family life. The picture emerging was of a man who viewed his wife and children not as loved ones, but as obstacles. After the murders, Christopher's behavior was shockingly flat. No grief, no panic, just cold detachment. That demeanor only fueled suspicion further. Just 6 days after the murders, Vaughn was arrested and charged with 4 counts of first-degree murder. His trial began in 2012, and prosecutors built a compelling case. They argued that he'd planned the killings to escape his suburban life and start over alone. The defense pushed back, suggesting Kimberly had suffered a sudden mental break, but there was no history of mental illness, no prior violent behavior, and everyone who knew her said she was a loving, devoted mother. After just 5 hours of deliberation, the jury convicted Christopher on all counts. He was sentenced to 4 consecutive life terms, no chance of parole. Despite the conviction, not everyone is convinced justice was served. Some argue the forensic analysis may have been flawed, or that Kimberly's mental state wasn't fully explored. Others believe Vaughn's cold personality unfairly swayed the jury. But even skeptics admit, no gunpowder residue, no fingerprints, and a gun with only Vaughn's DNA paint a hard picture to ignore. So did Christopher Vaughn orchestrate the execution of his own family, or was he wrongly accused in a rush to find someone to blame? Let us know your theory in the comments below. And if you want more chilling true crime and twisted cases like this one, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to Baffling Mysteries. Because sometimes, the truth is far darker than fiction.